Oh, she got them. Thank you. We help one another. Can you feel that? The sound of the bowl, just letting it move through your bodies. Let it continue to move through your body as we open in prayer this morning. My name is Reverend Nikki. I'm one of the co-ministers here at Unity of Mesa. Turning our hearts and minds inward to that place where we experience the divine, God, Buddha, Lao-Tzu, whatever your favorite name is. And allowing ourselves to rest in that place for just a moment. Rest in appreciation and gratitude for this day. Rest in appreciation and gratitude for life. And resting in appreciation for this spiritual community. And that we are allowed to be here today. And that each of us who are here felt the impulse and we got up and we came. And we're creating joy, and we're creating peace, and we're creating harmony in the world. And we are overcoming obstacles that seem to be in our path. And we're learning the tools to do that with ease, and to do that with persistence, and to do that joyfully, knowing that each obstacle is a doorway to something new. And so it is, and so we let that be. Amen. So that was J.A.M. Collins. She's board member of the day. We have a vocalist who's new to us. His name is J.A.M. Would you stand up? Chavez is supporting us on the piano today. Also, Reverend Mindy Tucker, the other minister, is doing the lesson. And you are the presence and the power of God that is here to be with us, as us, in us, through us, and we together are it. So say with me, there is only one presence.
There is only one presence.
And one power.
And one power.
Active in the universe.
Active in the universe.
And in my life.
And in my life.
God.
God.
The good.
The good.
Omnipotent.
Omnipotent.
Yay. What an affirmation of truth that each of us is.
Well, we have some announcements today. I'm going to invite our AV man, Ben, to put them up on the slides one at a time so we can go through them together. Our Youth and Family Ministries is having a movie night. It is for the kids only. Just saying.
It's good to have a chance to bond and get to know each other.
It's perfect because it's just for the kids. So that's Saturday the 21st at 6 p.m. It'll be popcorn, karaoke, and watching The Wizard of Oz.
I know. Next slide, please. So Reverend Mindy is teaching a class. She's actually facilitating a class called Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. This is a powerful opportunity for us to take a look at ourselves and how were we brought up? I know I was brought up in a community that was the lines of racial, I'm not quite sure how to say it, racial
Yeah, dig a hole.
I know, but they were in Arkansas where I grew up, they were separated. And I am many years later still learning how to navigate that. And this is an opportunity for us to learn, to grow, and to get clear on how to be together as one.
And those books are available in the bookstore, which is also having a 50% off sale on everything Christmas, and anything fall is 75% off. It is definitely worth going in there when you go get your book. Also happening here is the board is having a retreat at the end of the month, and we're looking for somebody to volunteer to cook for the board. It would be lunch, The person would cook and bring it to the church, and then the board would eat, and we would all be eternally grateful. So if cooking is your thing, this is a wonderful way to serve Unity of Mason.
Mm-hmm. Last year, Judy Suter did it. Oh my goodness, it was delicious.
Yes.
So thank you for last year.
Yes, thank you for supporting the people who support you. And then I think that might be almost it, except we're going to announce that the Sunday meditation, which doesn't happen every week, but it's happening next Sunday at 9:30, and it's 25 minutes of sitting in the silence with other people. It's amazing to have that silence experience yourself, but when you do it in community, people say they go even deeper. So that's next Sunday, the 22nd.
And it's a new time.
9:30.
It's at 9:30.
Yep.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Hear ye, hear ye. I believe we've covered all the announcements.
We're going to invite you to stand if you're able, and
Yes,
we're
we
going
are.
to sing Love is My Decision.
Da 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 dum dum dum. Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision.
We have a very special time. This is our intergenerational moment time. Dr. Bob Baker is coming to share his experience with unity. Thank you, Bob, for doing that.
How unity has affected my life. When I was growing up, I went to church and practiced a rote ritual of singing the same hymns, repeating the same creeds, and listening to sermons based on Bible verses where I tried to imagine what was going on 2,000 years ago. This was an expected part of my education and upbringing until I graduated from high school. On coming to Unity, the first time I was surprised to hear contemporary music that I never considered to be church music. What was going on? The first Unity sermon I remember was based on the parable of the talents, which I had heard before, but also quoted the book Think and Grow Rich. Instead of focusing on wasted opportunity, the sermon focused on the prosperity that was available to everyone if they were just aware of it. Intrigued by the difference, I signed up for a workshop that was conducted by Robert Anthony, a business consultant, not a minister. He talked about business aspects that were spiritual, like believing is seeing, how I was limited by my mistaken certainties, and why it was important to reverse, not rehearse, my failures. Over time, I was exposed to ideas that tragedies could be experiences created by my own confusion, and by focusing on the wholeness and goodness I possess, I would have the resilience and wherewithal to reset and rebalance my life regardless of the situation. In the bookstore, I learned of authors bridging science and religion, and of authors with ideas that sounded like they were pretty far out. But after reading them, I found they were speaking to something intimately human. I became aware of sermons not based on blind acceptance, but on thoughtful reflection, metaphysical interpretation, and metaphor, where the same message would be said in different ways, but usually one of those messages would stick with me throughout the week. I started to see my world not as a judgment of good and evil, but with perceiving discernment that everyone was doing the best they could, but some were confused. I could understand how confusion could be concepts fused together in ways that would overwhelm our understanding, as quoted by John Asraf, one of the participants in The Secret. I now try to clear my mind with meditation and then focus mindfully on what is going on in the present. I've been grateful to be part of many groups, such as workshops, study groups, small group meetings, youth ministry, volunteering, and the board, as those groups have expanded my horizons and abilities more than I could have imagined. The intergenerational connections are mind-boggling, and I have to apologize for my lack of coordination in many of the gestures that accompanied the music. Unity has transformed me from a churchy automaton who left my religion in my old sanctuary to a spirituality of the Christ within, where I can act on all that I see or feel throughout the week. I continue to come to Unity to have my awareness unfolded to new ideas that resonate with me throughout my life.
Hello, everyone. It's good to be here, and I'm here with one of our wonderful young men in our youth program, and his name is Paul. And Paul's going to lead us in our affirmation today. He's been practicing. He demonstrated to me. Impressive.
I am one with the infinite goodness of God. Say it with me. I am one with the infinite goodness of God.
Paul, you get to do the chimes. You can either press the button or you can just make it work with your finger. Wonderful. Thanks, Paul. You can stay here with me if you like. Yep. Okay, before our children and youth exit for their class, we're going to give them our blessing, our heartfelt blessing, as we usually do. Children, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ you are. Amen, and thank you.
Under construction. Sometimes life is like the rooftop across the way, littered with debris, a mess. New construction underway. So much trash waiting to be discarded. Here inside, are papers on the floor, papers on the table, papers in the office, a reflection of the overwhelm of my mind. Nothing but irritation and dismay. Then the phone rings. Hello, friend. And I feel lighter, more able. I see that I'm really a work in progress.
All right. So little did you guys know you were in for some rock and roll this morning. Just kidding. This is a song about joy, and it's an original song, and it's called Joyous Soul. So here we go. Is it coming through, Ben? Hopefully. There we go. I think it's coming through now. All right, perfect. Feel free to stand up and clap if you guys want to. Yeah. Joyous soul, whoa. Joyous soul in you, joyous soul in me, joyous soul, whoa. Joyous soul in you, joyous soul in me, joyous soul. Ooh, you were praying for divine intervention and mentioned heaven's intention, sometimes reckless. It always ends in a blessing. We were kids on the scene, orange cream skies as we're living the dream. Sunset seemed to be reminding me of all our memories. Tied at close, marquee shows, spirit knows where to go. Set you free, let it be peace, love, harmony. What you think you become, singing oceans above. Let the waves wash away any pain in your day. Joyous soul, whoa. Joyous soul in you, joyous soul in me, joyous soul, whoa. Joyous soul in you, joyous soul in me, joyous soul. Ooh, every time you share your light, you bring the best out in everything. Even though you're gone, there is still a dawn guiding me. Toot 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 toot. Joyous soul, whoa. Joyous soul in you, joyous soul in me, joyous soul, whoa. Joyous soul in you, joyous soul in me, joyous soul. Ooh. Thank you.
Perfect. It was perfect. It was perfect. Look, Rev and Mindy's top slides are right there. It was perfect.
Do you want to take a seat?
Yeah,
Okay,
because
no
it's going to
problem.
be about 17 minutes.
Beautiful. Awesome. I'm going to
Ish.
just
Yes, 17 minutes-ish. But Joyous Soul is a prayer. And we just stood in it, we sat in it, we allowed it to move through us in a way that is just like prayer. When we engage in prayer, we expand our consciousness. When we engage in meditation, we expand our consciousness. So that joyous soul music has just invited us to think a little bit broader, to feel a little bit deeper, but to have an expanded consciousness so that, it's not God that changes, it's us that changes. The principle stays the same. There is the same amount of love. There's the same amount of faith. There's the same amount of joy. But when we expand our consciousness, we're open to more of that on the soul level. The other thing that happens after we have this expansive experience is we have the opportunity to say, whoa, I feel good inside. I feel strong inside. I feel that faith and the assurance that things that I haven't seen yet are about to happen or about to unfold. And then we have the opportunity to do some spiritual analysis. We say, does my inside experience match what's going on outside? And when we take a look at our outer experience, we can say, awesome, it matches. Wow, that joy I felt inside is expressing, it's showing up in the people I'm meeting, it's in my relationship, it's in my finances. And we say, awesome. Or source number 2 for our outer experience is whatever's happening in our subconscious, whatever we've recorded in our subconscious mind. So those habits, those patterns of belief from our past, they could be the one that are contributing to our outer experience, which could be awesome. We have great habits. We pray a lot. We meditate a lot. We have great habits, and we hold these high thoughts all the time, and they show up as awesome. Or maybe they're thoughts and habits and beliefs that are really not supportive of our highest good, and they create an experience that's not awesome. The third source of what we see in the world is a result of what the collective consciousness is holding. So all the people, all the minds in the world are holding certain beliefs and certain thoughts, and those thought streams are so strong that is what's creating our outer experience. So we have a belief that so many people will get cancer. We have a belief as a collective that so many people will get in car accidents. We have a belief that a certain percentage of people will be happy. We have a belief that so many people will be successful, and we have a belief that so many people will not. We're holding those thoughts in our collective consciousness, which when we look outside and we're doing our spiritual analysis, we go, wow, that's awesome. Or we say, yeah, that's not so awesome. The fourth source of the outer experience comes from karma. I don't think I have to explain karma. It's that energy that we've generated at some point in the past that is now coming to manifestation, and it's either awesome or it's not awesome. And the fifth source of what's happening in our outer world is what we call grace. And I love Unity's definition of grace. And it's that we never reap as much as we sow. So usually grace creates these and manifests as these awesome experiences. But as we hold and observe in spiritual analysis, we have the opportunity, we have the invitation to affirm the awesome and deny the not awesome. We have the opportunity to change our present and our future experience of what we're seeing out there. So another way of saying affirm and deny is to amplify. So if we focus on and we put our thoughts and we expand our consciousness to the awesome, we're amplifying the awesome we see in the world. And if we choose to dismantle whatever thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, or deny that the collective has power over us, we can dismantle the not awesome experience. So amplify the awesome, dismantle the not awesome. Let's do it together. Amplify the awesome, dismantle the not awesome. As a nation, this weekend, we are honoring Martin Luther King Jr. And one of the reasons why we're honoring him is because he had a particular calling. He had a very specific calling to amplify the awesome and dismantle the not awesome. He took a look at his world and what was going on in his world, and he said, I want more of the awesomeness. I want more of a recognition that each and every one of us on the planet, every human being, is created with sacred work. He said, I want to amplify that. I want to amplify the awareness that each and every person on the planet is born and is grown as the image and likeness of God. He said, I want to amplify that. And at the same time, he was working on dismantling what he saw from society, what he saw from the world of politics as not serving our greater good. So he wanted to dismantle some of what he saw as oppression, as degradation, as segregation, as inequality. He followed, and it's not just unities, it's actually a universal spiritual 4-step process that was facing, accepting, choosing, and taking action. He faced the fact that segregation existed. He accepted the fact that segregation was leading to the demise of his race. He chose to do something about it, and he took action. That last piece is so important. He took action. In Unity, for a long time, there's been this joke, and maybe you've heard it. 2 frogs were sitting on a log. One frogs were sitting on the log. 2. Because you have to, even if you choose for your life to be different, even if you choose to want to have a different experience of what's going on in the world, you still have to take action in order for something to happen. So here's Martin Luther King Jr. What was he thinking? What was he thinking? Can you imagine what he was thinking? He was thinking, this makes me crazy. This isn't fair. This isn't right. How many times in our own lives have we said, this is making me crazy? This isn't fair. Whether it's a diagnosis or an interaction with somebody, or you're looking at your bank account and you think, I've worked so hard. This isn't fair. This isn't right. We are thinking those kinds of thoughts. And we have an opportunity to face into them, to accept them, to choose a different experience, and to take action to make sure that that experience begins to unfold. In 1968, 2 years before he was assassinated, Martin Luther King Jr. was speaking to his congregation, which was Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, Georgia, and he said these words in his sermon. He was talking about being a drum major. If you could bring up that slide, Ben, thank you. He says, yes, if you want to say I was a drum major, say that I was a drum major for justice. Say that I was a drum major for peace. I was a drum major for righteousness, and all of the other shallow things will not matter. I won't have any money to leave behind. I won't have the fine and luxurious things of life to leave behind. I just want to leave a committed life behind. You can leave a committed life behind. Take a breath. Take a breath. What are you committed to? He was clearly committed to addressing the issue of segregation in our country, but he was also committed to ensuring that the vote was available for every adult citizen. He was also committed to ending the war in Vietnam, and he was committed to bringing us up as a collective to create a new collective consciousness in which there was justice, equal justice for every single one of us. In a different sermon a year earlier, there we are, Power of Overcoming, Facing, Accepting, Choosing, and Taking Action. In this way, there we go. In a 1967 sermon also at Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, Georgia, he said to his congregation, I don't plan to run for any political office. I don't plan to do anything but remain a preacher. And what I'm doing in this struggle, along with many others, grows out of my feeling that the preacher must be concerned about the whole man. I love this statement on several levels because it was a demonstration that he was committed to one focus and not trying to be bigger than his calling. He felt that he was called by God to preach. Now, metaphysically, this is rich because we're every part of every story, which means that we are represented or we can identify with the experience that Martin Luther King Jr. had. We are also called by God. Each and every one of us is a preacher. Now, we may not be called to be a preacher like me, standing up here in front of a whole bunch of people, recording online for people all over the world to listen to and hopefully be inspired to take their own action from. But each and every one of us has a holy purpose. We have a divine purpose. We are here by design. Take a breath. Take a breath and be grateful and know that the rest of us are grateful. Because without you, we couldn't do our holy purpose. We're all in this together. So when we're facing a struggle, we're in this together. So know that you are always supported not only by that energy, that principle, those laws that we call God, but you are also supported by a new collective, a new spiritual community that is here wanting nothing but the best for you, wanting you to have and recognize the capacity that you are here for a very special purpose. It may be that smile you give someone in passing that changes their whole life. You don't even know it, but it was part of the divine design that you were here to give in that particular moment. I thank God for you. I thank God for you. Whew. You're amazing. Whether your collective consciousness, your individual consciousness thinks so, let us at Unity of Mesa uplift you into that awareness. It's a struggle sometimes. It's a struggle, but when we commit to do the work, Reverend Nikki always says unity's not for sissies because it requires personal responsibility. And sometimes personal responsibility is a struggle. But when we commit to that struggle and we're willing to do the work, we are always going to come out on top. It may not look like the top we thought it was going to look like, but we will always come up on top. And then the last piece that I think metaphysically is so amazing is that He was concerned about the whole man. We can be concerned about our own wholeness for all the parts of us. The parts of us that we think are awesome, and the parts of us that we think are not awesome. But we have the power to overcome whatever limiting thoughts, whatever limiting beliefs, whatever not awesome experiences that we see in the outer because of the work that we have the capacity to do in the inner. So step one is to face. And in facing, if you go, wow, nothing's bothering me today. Oh, really? Oh, really? What's triggering you? What is annoying you? What is it that you're saying, this is making me crazy, this is making me mad, this isn't fair, and that somebody ought to do something about it? Facing into that. So on a global level, it might be the environment. It might be the number of wars that are going on simultaneously. It might be the genocide that's happening around the world. It might be hunger. So there might be something that's triggering us on that global level. Or it might be on the national level. If you've been listening to the news, you know that our economy is facing a particular challenge with the debt ceiling, and that might be triggering you. Or the cost of medical and health care might be triggering you. It might be the state, well, you're already getting the picture of what might be triggering you. And then personally, I don't think anybody plans to be triggered. Like, we didn't plan to have that car accident. We didn't plan to get divorced. We didn't plan to become an alcoholic. We didn't plan all that stuff, but here we are. And if we just took a look at our own life and say, wow, that's triggering me, that's not, I'm trying to avoid that. And if you're trying to avoid that, that's a trigger. So take a look at what's going on in your life and say, oh, there might be some energy there. Let me face into it. Let me do some spiritual analysis. Let me begin to take it apart so I can examine exactly what it is that has got my dander up. The second piece is accept. What is it that we're trying to push outside of us that's actually a part of our wholeness? What is it that we want to invite back in? What is it that we've noticed that there's enough love that this is now bubbling up to get healed? I'll tell you a story about a man who was in a bicycle accident. And after a number of reconstructive surgeries, he was left with a lot of scarring. And he was very self-conscious about it. And when he ate, he always held a napkin over his mouth. And he figured out a way not to smile because he didn't want anybody to see what a smile did to his face. And he thought he was being very clever. But in fact, what he was doing was eroding his self-esteem. So he didn't deserve to be around other people. He didn't deserve to be himself when he was around other people. And he didn't deserve to express his full range of emotions when he was around other people. And he noticed that he got more and more depressed. And then one day he decided to face into the fact that, yes, he did have scarring in his face because of this bicycle accident. And he made a choice to accept himself, to accept that he was whole, just the way he was. He was right and perfect, just the way he was. And he stood in front of the mirror and said, I love you, until he could accept that this was a part of his wholeness. So remember, unity's not for sissies. This is something that we can do, and it might be a struggle. Step number 3 is to choose. Choose. What do we want to be different? What kind of experience do we really want to have? What do we really want to amplify when it comes to awesomeness? And what do we want to dismantle when we look around and say, this is not awesome? What choice do we want to make? I'll tell you another story about a woman who was scrappy. This woman was so scrappy. She worked her way through college. She got some loans and she went to business school, and then she got this really high-powered job, and she was super successful, and she had 2 kids, and she had a 2-hour commute to work, and she worked all the time. And one day her son broke his leg, so she took him to the emergency room. There was nobody else. She had to leave her job. She had to go to the emergency room with her son. And in the emergency room, the doctor who was treating her son turned around and looked at her, and he said, "Do you feel okay?" She said, "Oh, I'm fine." He said, "Do you have any trouble with your vision?" She goes, "It gets blurry all the time. I'm not worried about it." He says, "Do you ever feel dizzy?" She says, "Well, I faint about once a day, but I'm not worried about it." And he admitted her right then on the spot for high blood pressure. And while she was in the hospital, while they were trying to work out how to treat her high blood pressure, she kept working. She kept working. And she had a stroke right there in the hospital. But it brought her to a choice point, a conscious choice point. You know, it can come as the feather. It can come as the breath of wind. It can come as the 2x4, the Mack truck, the tsunami. I mean, it can come in a super big way. But until we recognize we're at the choice point, we're not going to make a different choice. Or we consciously make a choice to do the same. And she was at the choice point. Did she want another rung in the corporate ladder, or did she want to live? Sometimes it is as stark as that. And then, of course, there's step number 4, unity principle number 5. There's only 5 unity principles. So we saved the best for last. Take action. What action are you willing to take in order to create, to put into motion, to begin unfolding a different outer experience? We can spend time in prayer and meditation to get clarity, to get wisdom, to get inspiration. But it's not going to amount to a hill of beans until we engage, right? Just like Star Trek. Engage, number 1, right? Engage until we take that action. I want to end with just one more story. And it's a little ditty about 2 frogs. 2 frogs who fell into a bowl of cream. And as they fell into this bowl of cream, one was an optimistic soul, but the other took a gloomy view. "Will drowned," he lamented, without much ado. And with a last despairing cry, he flung up his legs and said, "Goodbye." Quote the other frog with a steadfast grin, "I can't get out, but I won't give in. I'll just swim around till my strength is spent, and then I'll die the more content." Bravely he swam to work his scheme, and his struggles began to churn the cream. Our struggles are worth it. The more he swam, his legs aflutter, the more the cream turned into butter. On top of the butter, at last he stopped, and out of the bowl he gaily hopped. Our struggles are worth it. Say that with me. Our struggles are worth it. Transformation begins right here. Take your hand, touch your heart. Our struggles are worth it. Transformation starts right here. Let's say that together. Our struggles are worth it. Transformation begins right here. Right now. Thank you for that. Right here, right now. In 1946, a woman named Zilpha Horton took a gospel hymn and she adapted it for what she believed was a movement for freedom. She changed the words a little bit. She made some recordings, and it was picked up by Pete Seeger. And then it was picked up by Joan Baez, and it became a song that really leaves no one person unaffected. It's about the power of overcoming. And it's about recognizing that as we choose to overcome, as we choose to engage in the spiritual work, sometimes known as the struggle, as we choose that, we are not alone, and that we can do it, and that we can create a new collective. I'm going to invite J.A.M to come up, Stephen Chavez to come up. We're going to sing our way into meditation. Mary Ann's coming up. She practiced. So we're not singing alone. But to begin with, I want you to think for a moment about what you need to face, or about what you want to face, about what's triggering you, about what's getting your attention, what's calling you, what's making you mad, what do you see as an injustice, what do you think needs to change in the world, and know that we can do this together.
Shall we shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday.
I want to invite you to take a look at what you're ready to accept about the situation, ready to accept about what you see, ready to accept that what is coming up for you, what is triggering you, is really what is calling to be reminded of its own wholeness, and that it's part of your wholeness.
We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday.
Step 3 is knowing that this is a choice point for you, and it's a choice point for us as a collective. What world, what outer experience do we want to amplify the awesomeness of? What in our outer experience do we want to dismantle as not awesome? And then make a choice to do so, to make a stand to do so.
We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday.
And finally, take an action. Take a step that's small. Take a step that's large. Take a step that's measurable. Take a step that's pleasurable. Take a step that's easy. But whatever step you take, know that it is part of your struggle, your commitment to be free, to be whole and to hold the world and our community in a bigger, more expanded consciousness.
We shall stand together. We shall stand together. We shall stand together now. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday.
Bring it into your heart and mind.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday.
Let the chorus, let the notes, let the energy move in and through you now. Let the words echo in your heart and in your mind. In this holy time of meditation, feel the new, higher, better thoughts. Feel your commitment to be the transforming presence of love. The transforming presence of love in your own life and in the world. You are strong. You are beautiful. You are convicted. You are a preacher for justice. You are a preacher for freedom. A freedom from our past, a freedom from past beliefs, a freedom from past experiences. You are the light the world needs and wants to see right now. And yes, you were born with a tremendous charge, a divine purpose, a purpose only you can fill. And you have all the strength, all the vitality, all of the thoughts, all of the energy, all of the spiritual community lifting you up to be all that you were created to be, to stand in your power, to love wastefully, but mostly to be free. Let's take those thoughts, that knowing, that conviction, that awareness, that expanded consciousness into the holy and sacred silence. You have got this. You have got this. facing, accepting, choosing, taking action for your highest and best. You have got this. The transforming power of overcoming begins right in your heart. So we have affirmed it, so we have amplified it, so it is, and so we let it begin. Amen, amen, and amen. Coming back to this time and place, taking in a breath together and letting it out together. Knowing that there's only one presence and one power active in the universe and in your life, God the good, omnipotence. Just like a time like this.
There's not very many times I'm speechless, but when I am overcome with spirit, I know what I need to say. I choose, we choose to overcome. We choose to come here and be united in love and honor one another. It's my part as board member of the day to come to you and say to you about giving. I know in my life I'm a giver, and we really appreciate you as a giver, and we appreciate you as we receive. But what I want you to know is that what happens here at Unity is not just here at Unity one day. It's so many days of the week for me. So like Martin Luther King, I like to take time and take action in saying about giving to Unity. And there's many aspects, different ways that you can give at Unity. And the first one is you can give online. I guess there's 5 ways to give. So online, and I do that online all the time. Venco, you can text it with the 800 number 844-526-0827. And you can do it also in person. I think we're going to be passing the baskets today. So we thank you very much. Thank you for the givers and as we receive.
All right, so this next tune is another original song. It's called Universal Love, and you're a part of that love that pervades the universe, and hopefully you'll take that love and you'll share it with everybody for the rest of the week and the rest of the day. So this one's called Universal Love. Open your mind to heal this world. Universal love is what it's all about. Open your eyes to what is real. Universal love is what is seen throughout. Need an antidote to keep us afloat, moving towards the future. Good things come when we need them sooner. Smile towards the clouds, obstacles all around. There's a blessing in them. Time will show how to heal the conundrum. There's no coincidence in life. It's all planned to coincide. Open your mind to heal this world. Universal love is what it's all about. Open your eyes to what is real. Universal love is what is seen throughout. Ooh, ooh, ooh. It's universal love. It's universal love. Ooh, ooh, ooh. It's It's universal love. It's universal love. This world needs your medicine. It's in your heart and it's in your grin. Let it all flow downstream. Love is your guide leading out of this dream. Take the river as far as you can. The path is the goal in creation's hands. It's all love before your eyes. Embody the sun and help others rise. Open your mind to heal this world. Universal love is what it's all about. Open your eyes to what is real. Universal love is what is seen throughout. Ooh, ooh, ooh. It's universal love. It's universal love. Ooh, ooh, ooh. It's universal love. It's universal love. Yeah.
Steve, thank you.
J.A.M.
Yeah. So you have CDs?
I don't have any with me right now, but you can type in J.A.M now, here, there, and everywhere and listen.
Next time he comes, he's going to bring some, I'm sure. We're going to bless the reception of your generosity, your love. Unity of Mesa runs on your love and your generosity. And together we're going to bless with the next statement, Ben. We're going to say, we are one with the opulence of God. We are now in the flow of infinite abundance, and we give thanks for the prosperity that is ours by divine right. And so it is. Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you for being here.
We have hospitality in the back. We have chaplains. Will you please stand up? Oh, outside.